Okay, so alright, so good day class. So welcome to our subject on tours and seminars. So since it's not possible right now to have face-to-face um, activities, I think it would be good for us to take a glimpse of the different architectural sites all over the world by through virtual means. So these are not possible during our time. So when I was still studying architecture uh, almost 2 decades ago, um, we these technologies were not available. So you're lucky right now. So even if there's a pandemic, you could explore these sites virtually. Okay? Now, to start our lecture, we're going to look into the past. So the past is important, class, because the architecture of ancient civilizations such as Egypt, they shape um, and what society is today. They have some effect. They have effect on it. So they are one of the oldest civilization that uh, of record in record in history. So let's look into uh, the site of the Great Pyramids of Egypt. So let's view this in 360. So as you can see, this is Egypt. So you look at their buildings. So it's simple. It's squarish. You can see desert sand all over the place. So this is the uh, I think this is a complex for the Sphinx here. Okay, let's move around. Okay, so from afar you can see three big pyramids. Okay, this here I think this is the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is the biggest among the three. Then the second biggest is the Pyramid of Khafre. Okay, for the Pharaoh Khafre. This is one. I think the third biggest is for the Pyramid of Menkaure, for the Pharaoh Menkaure. Okay, so from afar you could already see those, so you can just imagine how massive they are. Then in the past, since they've already been around for 4,500 years, you could just think how majestic they were when they're still plastering on the pyramids. So it would have been a sight to behold when Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. Let's look into the stone blocks here. So let's start here. Can you see this, class? Can you imagine that each and every one of these stones, they weigh more than a ton? Then how come that the ancient civilization of Egypt were able to transport these despite the weight? Okay. So even if you use heavy machineries, this is the precision and the way they lay out the rocks is still laudable. Imagine they don't use technology in doing this. Okay, so right now you can see here uh, Khafre, which is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Let's go to the road. Technology is really great, because this would have not been possible a few years back during my time. Okay, you can see a lot of tourists, camels. Okay. And the sky is not that clear, probably because of the dust from the sand. So that's normal in the Middle East. I worked there for around 5 years before I decided to teach here at the university and open up my practice. you look at it thus, um, if this is the Great Sphinx and these are the three pyramids, it's like a, for me, it's like a guardian. I think yeah, it's like a pylon to the afterlife of the pharaohs of Egypt. It's really a nice sight to behold. So imagine guys that you're walking in Egypt and looking at the pyramids. Okay, so this is the Great Sphinx. So can you imagine the level of precision the workers had had during that time? So probably there are hundreds and thousands of workers working on the Sphinx. Then back then, this would have been plastered. It would have been painted, of course. Let's walk further. I don't know much of the climate of Egypt, but if it's the same as Saudi Arabia, then this would have been fairly hot. But I think it's worth the experience if we really go there. I can remember back in 2016, my batchmates and I were planning to go to Egypt, but it was not. Uh, it did not become reality because of a lot of things. Okay. Now we're now closer to the pyramid of Khafre. Wow, so there's a smaller pyramid here. So I wonder what this is. This could be Queen's Pyramid, perhaps a burial ground for um, Egyptian nobles in the past. Here we can view the city. So it's really, you just imagine that the Great Pyramid is just a walking distance from the city itself. I think to truly immerse the experience, it would be, it's nice to walk, despite the heat maybe. But there are some places in Saudi Arabia, like for example in Daharan Al Janoub, where I was assigned, and wherein it was cold. It's around 17 degrees even during daytime. I hope that it's like that there. Okay. Wow. So maybe this looks like an entrance. Okay. Can you see this, class? Okay. This is probably the entrance to the pyramid. So sad that we can't go there. Let's go closer. This is Khafre. Wow, it's truly majestic. You could just see, class, how large these ancient monuments were by comparing the scale of the person standing at the base of the pyramid. So it's really massive. So it's a marvel from the ancient world. How were they able to stack all these stones in a precise manner up to the top? So the calculations must have been quite complex. Wow, it's a nice thing to see. These smaller pyramids, maybe these were the earlier prototypes of the pyramids, or perhaps this could be for some Egyptian nobles or maybe the queens. Can't really tell for sure. So if you guys have watched the movie Stargate, then the series as well. They were connecting um, what's happening in ancient Egypt with uh, alien technologies. So we don't really know for sure if that's true, but perhaps the there were a lot of lost technologies in the past, because 4,500 years is not a short time. Maybe somewhere along the way, the technologies were not preserved. Because even if you use heavy machineries and equipment, it would still take time to build something as beautiful as this. Yeah, for me, class is it's really something. Let's get closer to the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's really big. So you can just imagine here that if it was still at its best, that this would have been plastered and smooth. Probably it could be probably colored. I don't know for sure. Probably painted. This is really a great view. Let's get inside. Wonder where the entrance is. So let's look around class. Oh, so here's the tour bus. So can you just imagine if we had a tour and you had a scheduled educational tour to Egypt? So it would have been really nice. But it would be expensive also. Okay. This is great. So just a few kilometers from the city. Oh, nice. So I wanted to find the way to the Great Pyramid of Giza. So that after that we're going to Menkaure. Let's just enjoy the tour. This is a great view of the pyramid. So if you can see, some of the rocks are eroded now, but in the past, this could have been some very precise geometric figure. Which is awesome. Okay, let's go here. Let's follow the road. Wow. So where are we right now? We've gotten quite a distance. Okay. So here, this Khafre is the Great Pyramid of Giza. This is Menkaure. And you know, class, my experience in the Middle East, walking around in sites like this, I think it looks fun, but when you're actually there, it's quite tiring. But maybe probably because I was just a lazy person. Physical activities is not my forte. Alright. So, at the back side, sorry, the back, okay, this is Khafre, it's Menkaure, Great Pyramid of Giza, and this is Khafre. So imagine we're riding a car going by this road to cafe. Like to Menkaure. Ah. So there's a considerable distance between the pyramids. Okay, so if you look at the books, the magazines, it might not be that much, but in reality, it's quite far away from each other. I mean, if you walk this distance, you could have been very tired by now. So let's get closer to Menkaure, which is the smallest among the three. Nice. So I think this is the closest that we could go. Alright. Okay. So some of the stones are already eroded, but nevertheless, it's still beautiful. And the history of the area is quite rich. So the distance between the two, it's not something that's easy to walk, especially if you consider the heat of the area. Okay, so going back last to the Great Pyramid of Giza, so this would probably be the view. Okay. So if you look at the people there standing, you could just see how massive it is. So it's a very large structure. So probably it would have taken them years to build this pyramid. Or if it took less time, maybe they had a lot of people working on it. Probably slaves. Then this is the Khafre, the Pyramid of Khafre. I think you've seen this. Yeah, this is Menkaure. It's the second largest. Okay, it's built for the Pharaoh Khafre. Then we have, I think this is the last that we visited, Menkaure. So you have the skyline of the city. It's like the modern and the old are mixing. Okay, so this is our short virtual tour class of ancient Egypt. Okay, so the activity that's going to require is a reaction paper on what you think. What are your thoughts about the past and how it could have influenced the present? So that's why we study the old buildings, to get a glimpse of man's aspiration to seek the divine. So in the past, people build monuments like this because of their belief in the afterlife. So even if you weren't there physically, at least we've seen how it might look like, at least virtually. Okay, so this is for this week task. So next meeting, we're going to visit a new site, Then we're going to have, I'm thinking about having seminars also, lectures, especially on related on taxation, related on basic bookkeeping, so that someday when you open your offices, you'll have an idea. But I'm going to talk with that with the rest of the instructors for the tours and seminars cluster. It's just a pity that we were really affected by the pandemic and we can't see a lot of good architectural sites for you to appreciate. But if you look at the good side, plus if you have a good internet connection, and if you really want to learn, there are a lot of resources in the internet. Okay? So stay safe, Das, and see you next meeting.